Yeah, it's just about the hypnotic interview and switching from that into the therapy.
Yes.
Is it fair to say that as soon as we spot an unconscious moment, we just jump into it, stretch it as far as we can, and we can start the therapy, even if it's the second question in?
Yeah. Think about this. I'll make it even easier for you. As soon as you ask, what's the problem? The therapy has begun. Because you're exploring the problem. If you look at traditional therapy, where do they start? Close your eyes, relax to some degree. And they do the hypnosis first, then they do the therapy. The reason I don't like that is because if you relax someone into this state, this hypnosis thing, they bring in all that baggage with them. They bring in all the conclusions, all the resistance, and all it is that they sit in this bubble we call trance with all their own shit. What I would rather do is do the therapy first. And then like we had with Joveline yesterday, the hypnosis was the last thing we did because we did the therapy first. Hypnosis is more powerful as a byproduct, not a necessity. But everyone focuses on, you've got to do the hypnosis to get the conscious mind out of the way. I love the conscious mind. It gives you a lot because it will help sometimes. Just a pure conscious conversation is enough to burst through a lot of people's problems, but a lot of people dismiss it. Does that sort of make sense? So as soon as you sit down with your client, you smile, you look at them, you've started the therapy. Now, once you see that unconscious moment, you absolutely just keep stretching it. You keep putting attention on it. You ratify it because that'll help, for lack of better words, widen the space inside of a client's mind for more resources, more aha moments, more insights to come through. As we had yesterday, Nikki, we did her session, and then about 20 minutes later, I saw her on camera. She goes, "Oh, I just figured it out. Just come to me." That's the resource popping up. We call it natural. We'll talk about this more today. Naturally emerging phenomena. It's the aha moment. It's the connection where consciously and unconsciously they become harmonious together. And she gets the answer.
Been doing it all day. It's been doing it all day today.
Processing. And we'll talk about this today.
Yeah.
Now, what's crazy is that this is really, if you want to know where does the therapy start, it starts as soon as I've finished the session. Doesn't that sound weird? Why would that be the case? Why does the therapy start when we send a client home? Any ideas?
It gives them a
because
chance to
They're with you,
reflect.
they have apprehension.
Yep, there's a little bit of that. What else?
The process.
Because instead of the
The processing. It's when I stop interrupting it, it starts. So remember, the more you talk, the more you interrupt. The more audios, the more homework. This whole thing, you have to give a client audios because only a certain percentage is done in the session. How can you conclude that? That's just a guess. My thinking, and I've concluded this and tested this, if I get the session done, the processing is way more important than an audio, way more important than homework. Does that make sense? Let that settle down first before you think about introducing homework or audio, or people might say, well, if I have to do a second session, when do I do that? You've got to wait for that processing to end. And again, we'll talk about this as a formal thing. But right now, I'm doing therapy with Nikki for the last, 24 hours, and I haven't even been talking to her. Isn't that easier for you guys?
I've been talking to myself a lot.
That's fine. That's fine with me. Okay. But, when we talk about tomorrow about charging a large price to change someone's life, not the symptom, this is what I'm talking about. I'm charging her for this. That's why my prices are so high if I was a therapist again. Because not only does she overcome the symptom, it's all the little bits that are associated to it. So what if, as a result of what we did yesterday, and we didn't even complete yesterday, which is cool, she has 35 breakthroughs. 35 times $100, what's that? $3,500. That justifies my price. To see how that works? If she has 40 breakthroughs, I've given her 5 sessions for free. Because Nikki, wouldn't she come and see me for those individual things that she's going to get as a byproduct anyway? That's what makes ACH so different. It's not fixing the one thing. It's fixing a mirage of things or a myriad of things. And you don't even
sorry for butting in. We were talking today at home, and I was explaining what had happened in the night while my other half was asleep. And I said that we were talking about how you justify prices, like you just said, about all the therapy sessions you get in one. My first ever hypnotherapy sessions, I paid, or we paid, he paid a hypnotherapist, I think it was something like £150 an hour. She kept me there for something like 15 weeks.
Of course, money.
And yeah, absolutely. Well, once I become a hypnotherapist, I totally got what she was up to. But I came away, you unraveled the app, you hit it yesterday, you unraveled it all in that session we had, 15 weeks, and she didn't even get to any of that.
Yep, because she would have been spinning around the symptom.
All I came out from that was, because I was overweight and I was bothered about being overweight, she kept making me imagine that I was scoffing loads of chocolate in front of Lee. And how did that make me feel?
Hungry. And
that's the only thing I can tell you after 15 weeks that I came away with. It didn't stop me eating chocolate.
Of course. Okay. And again, that's what I meant by symptom. Okay.
So powerful. So powerful.
And that's awesome. But you haven't seen my invoice yet, Nikki, so don't say that.
No, I know. All right. Yeah, I'm just shouting.
Okay. But think about this, like and I'll get to Ainsley and Anne-Marie as well. Like I talk about logic and not spinning around the symptom. My father, I'll talk this quickly, I'm getting into the question. My father went and saw a hypnotist to stop smoking. I didn't know this because I wasn't a therapist at the time. And I'd asked him quite a while back, what did he actually do? And he said, well, I was expecting the whole eyes closed, and he thought that was pretty typical. And he went in there and the guy said, what are we working on? My dad said, well, if I don't quit smoking, my mum's going to divorce me. And apparently the therapist said, well, what's your choice? Do you want to get divorced? Do you want to quit? And he went, I'll just quit. And he did. So logic goes a long way, guys, if there's good leverage. Okay, bit of a funny story, but still, smoking being a symptom and all that stuff. Don't always jump for the hypnosis part. Exhaust logic.